people like to castigate the God of the Old Testament, God, for the genocides Israel committed against the surrounding nations. Well, with the exception of the Amalekites, maybe, here's what happened. The Canaanites, the land that they took over, those people were despicable people. They burned their babies to worship the gods they worshipped. They committed all manner of debauched, detestable sex acts upon one another. They're basically hard, unloving, jaded people dedicated to the worship of their gods. I can't find, they were disgusting people. So, had to let them people live the despicable mentality of those nations would have rubbed off on Israel. And they would have started doing the same despicable things that those despicable nations were doing. Burning their babies to idols, debauched sexual acts. So, the most loving thing Israel could have done for itself, for future generations, was exterminate. Oh, those despicable people. Those people they exterminated were waste of oxygen molecules. It's a good thing they exterminated them. Because of Israel exterminated those detestable people, they could have a few happy days for their society with love, marriage, a little freaking sanity, without all the sexual debauchery and burning their babies would have caused. So I say, sometimes the most loving thing you can do for the generation that you love is to exterminate those waste of oxygen molecules. I mean, look at today's society. The reason I say it, with the exception of the Amalekites, was when Israel came out in the wilderness, Amalek, a couple hundred years, some hundreds of years ago, came out and attacked Israel. And 400 years, God, I don't know how many hundreds of years, God exacted vengeance upon Amalek, fulfilled his vendetta against Amalek. Now, I'm not sure that, I'm sure the people of Amalek, when they were finally exterminated, were not such bad people, so that was God's vendetta against Amalek. So, I still question about that. Why? Why did God have to get Israel to do the dirty work? Why couldn't have God created an earthquake to destroy Amalek by itself? Anyways, God does what he does, and he's God. But let's go forward to the future. Look at this despicable country.
To the present.
Debauched sexuality. People are jaded. People are hard. People don't love anymore. People are evil. People are bad. Violent. Look at all the mass shootings. Look at all the debauched sexuality. Listen to the music.
There I just said a mouthful. I personally would be willing to exterminate a few million people if it meant that after the extermination we'd go back to the music of the 80s and 90s and get rid of all this music with sex in your face, shoved in your face. I personally, I would go for that.
In the music business, all that it is sex in your face. Then they don't make music like they did in the 80s and the 70s, the happy days, which describe where people described their life experience. So most loving thing for America, for our future generations. We got to bring back this happy days again. But to do that, we got to exterminate these debauched people living in the sewer today, so that their ways don't rub off on our future generations. We got to erase not just these people, but their ways, their ideals, their songs. All these songs that were written after, I don't know, 1995, we got to erase the song. The most loving thing we could do for our generation and future generations, if we want to bring back the happy days again, the way we were happy in the 50s. Oh yes, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and the 80s, is the exterminate, oh.
Yeah, it would be traumatic and not fun and bloody to begin with, but 30 years down the road, when music would be music again, like it was in the 70s and the 80s, when people cared about one another once again, when neighbors came over to visit the neighbors and share with the neighbors, when people were more, this society was more safer. Then those people would look back 30 years ago when the genocide was necessary and say, thank God those people are not alive anymore. Thank God. If those people were still alive, this world would be this country would be a hell on earth. Let me share you a story of a TV show I saw one time. This man woke up, I don't know, 1,000 years in the future, something like that. 100 years in the future, I don't remember. And there's the new race of human beings on Earth. Super advanced civilization, but no computers. Spiritual powers. The woman said, you need an operation. And and she took them for the operation. He's like, wait a minute, operation right now? I'm still awake. And she just reached into this stomach and grabbed out the cancerous tissue. Her hand went through his stomach and reached out and grabbed the cancerous tissue. They showed their computers were life forms that said, yeah, they were given the choice to live as the monkeys or become computers. And they could visit and it was a nice, loving, safe place to live. But the new people needed his help. He was with NASA or something like that. They tell him there was a meteorite coming to Earth. We need your help to destroy this meteor. So he got in his computer and tapped and set the lasers and fire off in so many seconds. And he's like, wait a minute, the asteroid moved to the left. It's not, asteroids are supposed to come straight down. And all of a sudden, the laser fired, and it was not an asteroid. It was about a few 100,000 of the people who used to live there before the atomic holocaust, and they went into outer space on a huge spaceship, and would coming back down to repopulate the Earth. The new race, they couldn't kill human beings, so they had to get him to do it by tricking him and thinking he was destroying an asteroid. So all those people died. Not one of them came back. And they said to him, you're now one of us. You share in the guilt of what you just did. But we had to do it, or else this world would become wicked again. Well, anyways, he was feeling pretty awful about it one night. All of a sudden, she touched his head. He started seeing the stars close up. Folks, if we're gonna have the happy days again, there's a hell of a lot of people in this country and world got to die. put away evil out of Israel and America. What happened to my damn video? Come on, you fucking bitch.
Exterminate! Get rid of these hard waste of oxygen molecule humans today, so that the loving, kind, good people can live. It's either them or us. I personally would rather exterminate them so that our generation can be happy. Bring back this Sunday, Monday, happy days. Tuesday, Wednesday, happy days. Thursday, Friday, happy days. Saturday, what a day. Moving on up to you. These days are all happy days. Happy days. Yours and my happy days.
Amen.